Hi, I'm Chef Ange, and welcome to my kitchen. On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to cook what I call weekday shrimp scampi. And I call it weekday shrimp scampi because it comes together super fast, shrimp cook really fast, it's delicious, and it doesn't require a lot of ingredients, so I'm not running to the supermarket right before I have to make this. All I need is shrimp and a couple things that I probably already have in the house. Perfect for a weekday. Before I get into the recipe, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you can see when new episodes drop of easy to follow recipes like this, cooking skills and tips and other stuff to help you get better in the kitchen so you can cook dinner for yourself, your loved ones, and really make a difference in the kitchen. So before we start cooking, let's take a look at our ingredients. I've got all my ingredients already prepped up and ready to go. This is an essential step before you cook anything. Make sure that you have all your ingredients already separated out, measured out, already prepped, and just make cooking that much easier. I've got these jumbo shrimp that I peeled and deveined, and I've got them pre-seasoned with some Black Magic, which is the blackening seasoning from Spiceology. My base seasoning, I'll throw up a card for that, which is just a blend of garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, and some olive oil. I've pre-seasoned them and already mixed them all together, and that's going to help the dried spices bloom a little bit, soften up, get really coated onto the shrimp, and also release their flavor. And I'm also leaving them out for a little bit to make sure that the shrimp come up to room temperature before we cook them. That's just going to help them cook evenly and also get a nice crust on the outside. So here is some minced shallot and some minced garlic. I've also diced up a tomato and I took the seeds out of that. This is a lemon that's already been cut up, some dried oregano, and just a pinch of crushed red pepper. We got 2 tablespoons of butter, and if you wanted to make it richer, you could always use more. And if you want to use less butter, use less butter, or totally take it out, totally up to you. Here's some ingredients that we're going to make the sauce with. So I've got some cheap drinkable white wine. Never use cooking wine, always just use the cheapest drinkable wine in the liquor store. Here is some white wine vinegar for a little punch of acidity. This is a secret ingredient. This is some bouillon paste that's lobster flavored. This is the awesome stuff from Better Than Bouillon. I have these in almost every single flavor, and lobster is basically a shrimp's cousin, so the flavors are going to go really well together. I've also got my garnishes already pre-cut up. So I got some lemon slices to serve it with, some capers that have been dried and rinsed, and some parsley that's been diced. I've also got my salt and pepper ready to go to season as we're cooking. Now that we've got everything all prepped up and ready to go, let's get cooking. I'm going to start off by putting a little bit of olive oil in this pan that's already hot. I want to make sure that the pan is really nice and hot, so as I add the shrimp, they get a nice sizzle. I'm not going to overcrowd the pan, so I'm going to add the shrimp one by one just to fill up the pan so it's not super crowded, and I'll definitely have to do this in batches. So once I get enough shrimp in the pan to the point that it's not overcrowded and all the shrimp are touching the pan, and I want to make sure I get about half of it because I don't want to do more than 2 batches. It is the weekday shrimp scampi, it's got to be fast. So while these are cooking, I'm going to make sure that I really don't mess around with them too much because I really want to get like a nice crust on the outside of the shrimp. Shrimp cook really fast, so they only need about a minute or 2 on each side. You can start to check like the edges of the shrimp, and these are actually starting to look pretty good, so I'm going to start flipping a few of these. Always make sure that when you're cooking shrimp that you're paying attention because shrimp cook really, really fast, even these big ones. They only need like a minute or 2 on each side. Check out this one that's got this really, really nice crust on it. That crust is going to be super awesome for picking up the juice and also adding texture and flavor. And as they finish, I'll take them and I'll put them inside a bowl. Before I put the second batch in, I'll hit it with just another touch of olive oil, and in the rest of the shrimp go. And right now I'm probably cooking over like a medium-high heat. I like the way the crust developed on the other ones, where the crust developed but at the same time the shrimp didn't burn. So I'm going to keep the heat here. When you're cooking, don't be afraid to adjust the heat. Just because I'm saying medium-high, and maybe on your stove, medium will be enough. And if the shrimp need another flip, just to make sure that they're cooked on both sides, you can always flip them over, but try not to flip them and mess around with them too much. And you can see that nice, beautiful crust that's starting to develop on the outside on both sides. That's gonna add awesome flavor, and it's gonna really let the sauce stick to the shrimp. So I've set aside the shrimp. Now let's start making the sauce in the same pan. So you wanna leave all the stuff that's in there, and you wanna move fast so stuff doesn't burn. So I'm gonna add just a touch more olive oil. And now I'm gonna add some diced shallots. I'm gonna move around the shallots in the pan because the shallots are gonna release moisture. And as they're releasing moisture, they're clean the bottom of the pan. You can see how the color of the pan is starting to turn like this, like palish, like brown color, because all the fond, that burn stuff on the bottom, is starting to be reclaimed. And that stuff's awesome flavor. You can't buy that kind of flavor. So I'm gonna saute these until they start to become just a little clear. I'm gonna make sure that there's no clumps so they're cooking evenly. And right now the pan's over like a medium heat, so just a little bit lower than I was cooking the shrimp, because I don't want the shallots to burn. So now that these shallots have softened up a little bit, I'm gonna add in my garlic. I'll put my tomatoes in. And at this point too, we'll throw in the red pepper, oregano, and we'll also season here with a little salt and some fresh ground black pepper. So now from here, let's start building the sauce. We'll start off by juicing in 1 lemon. We'll add about a half a cup of white wine. A little splash of white wine vinegar. I'm not measuring this out, I'm just splashing it in. Now I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon of that secret ingredient that I told you about before. So this is bouillon paste, and this is lobster bouillon made by Better Than Bouillon. Shout out to Better Than Bouillon, they make great stuff. And this is really gonna get a nice deep flavor in that sauce. So I'll put, I don't know, something like a heavy teaspoon in there. And now I'll mix to incorporate all the flavors. And what we want here is the sauce to evaporate a little bit and reduce, and just evaporate off the alcohol from the wine. So now I'll take about 2 tablespoons of butter and I'll throw it in there. And just like I said before, if you want to use more butter and make this like a super rich dish, go ahead and use that. I know like some Shrimpy Scampi recipes call for a lot of butter. If you want to make it a little healthier and you want to use less butter or no butter, use less butter or no butter. Make the recipe work for you. So I'm gonna stir this butter in to make sure that it incorporates really nicely into the sauce. So now that the butter's melted, I'm gonna taste a little bit of the sauce, see if I gotta add any salt or pepper. That's good. That's good, just like that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna return the shrimp back into the sauce. And there's no easy way to do this. You just dump them in there and then toss them around. I make this recipe a lot, and I can always do 2 pounds of shrimp inside like a 12-inch frying pan just like this. And oh my, this smells so good and looks so good, and it just came together in minutes. So, you know, these shrimp are fully cooked, so I don't need them to cook, but I do want to let them sit in there just for a little bit because they cool down a lot. And you want to make sure that they're served nice and warm. So I'm going to let this over a slightly lower heat just so the shrimp come up to warm temperature. And now I'll shut the heat off and I'll sprinkle over my capers. Capers are awesome with seafood, especially shrimp. They give it a nice briny flavor, and some fresh chopped parsley. So now to plate it, all I'm gonna do is just dump the pan right inside this plate, juice and all. Look at that. So after plating, you just throw on some pieces of nice crusty bread. Before we even get into the shrimp, look at that nice bread soaked up with that sauce. This is gonna be the shrimp we're gonna eat. So let's take this shrimp, we'll squeeze it right out of the shell. Look at that. Soak up a little bit more sauce on the bottom of that bread. Bon appetit. If you make this on a weekday night, there's no one complaining. I'm Chef Ange, and this was my weekday shrimp scampi. If you like this recipe and you like this video, leave a comment, click like, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can see when the next recipe video drops. Thanks for watching.